And, frankly speaking, I could do a separate show about your hobbies itself because you both are very diverse people. I mean, you've been on the ground, you have done all the research you have, and you are still doing the research that you would like to. How has this research actually impacted the way in which you perceive the world now?
For me, I just knew about leukemia as a blood cancer before coming to Dr. Shruti's lab. But after entering the lab and reading and having conversations with the people around me, I actually realized that it's actually not that simple of a cancer. You know how everyone keeps saying about when are you going to cure cancer? When is the cure for cancer coming? It is difficult for a reason, and it's still an unknown question for a good reason. While some cancers can be easily cured, some others cannot. And there's this stratification of the cancers, and even one simple cancer is actually hundreds of different variations. And so that actually was one of the most eye-opening takeaways. And the fact that certain drugs work on certain different combinations. Yeah. So I think this is one of the rewarding things that I learned. Yeah. So honestly, I low-key forgot.
That's perfectly fine. Thank you so much, Nicole. I guess it was really very heartfelt, and I can see how you like to further expand on this research and make sure that it really helps patients out there in the long term. So really great sharing on that. Fayyaz, how about you?
Yeah, I think even though I share Nicole's sentiment, even though we come from different fields, I think the same applies for my project as well.
Right.
Once I actually went on the ground and spoke to different people, I understood that it's much more complex than whatever textbooks put it out to be, because it's actually a whole world of different identities and different demographics that we are dealing with. I think initially I never took into account, say, how race, gender, and even income level actually affects my research. But I think after embarking on my research and talking to different people from different backgrounds, I started to appreciate the differences and how that actually affected my line of inquiry. So I think that was pretty interesting.
I mean that's great, and I guess it kind of really shows how terms sometimes have a lot of things to unpack.
Exactly.
Where you would think it's a very broad term that has been always in the everyday learnings of your textbook, for instance, or anywhere else. But when you are really doing a research on it, you kind of realize that it's actually very loaded, and there are a lot of things that tie into it, which actually make it a very fascinating point of study as well, as both as a researcher and also sometimes as someone who has maybe been even a part of the experience. I must say that this research experience from both of y'all has magically transformed you into very enlightened beings who have the clairvoyance to see how much developing unconventional ways to kind of think differently and to never hesitate to critically think are some of the most important foundations in progress when you are trying to immerse yourself in a research experience. For the viewers who have been watching this thus far, you can find out more about the UROP program via the NUS Registrar's Office website. We have a page dedicated to UROP. And also, we are on 3 social media platforms, which include Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So do connect with us and do follow us. Before I conclude this interview, Nicole and Fayyaz, I would like to ask you all one more question. So if there was a one-liner that you could tell to your undergraduate juniors who are now perhaps considering to do research, what would that be?
As Nicole rightly pointed out earlier, we should always be bold, explore questions, and more importantly, never be afraid to ask questions. I think if you think about the fears that you have, you will never move. So be fearless, be ambitious, and more importantly, do your best.
I think if I just took it out of my mouth, I was gonna say just take that leap of faith. Take that leap of faith, and do not doubt. There will be people that help you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nicole and Fayyaz. And to all of you who are watching this, thank you so much for tuning in once again. And we are looking forward here at UROP to connect with you and to hear more about what you've got to share, because here at UROP, you get to own your opportunities. Thank you.